Why didn't you ever tell me? Why was this kept from me for so long? And now she's gone, my mom is dead, and I'll never have the chance to talk to her about it. My voice shook as I yelled, staring at him. My dad didn't respond, right away. He sat behind the wheel, his grip tight, knuckles pale. He tried to speak, his mouth opening slightly, but nothing came out. We were parked on a quiet street. The engine's soft hum, the only thing breaking the heavy silence between us. I was gasping, my thoughts spiraling, trying to absorb what he had just revealed. It felt like the ground had been ripped out from beneath me. I'm Hannah. I just turned 18. Today was supposed to be a celebration, a fresh start even. Instead, I was stuck in a car with my father, unraveling truths I'd never even guessed existed. This road trip from Seattle to San Francisco had started with smiles, shared stories, music, endless highway. But now we were parked outside a house I didn't recognize, and my world felt like it had flipped on its head. The trip seemed like a great idea when he first handed me the keys and map that morning. It was the first time since my mom passed 2 years ago that he had tried something meaningful to reconnect. Sure, there had been awkward dinners, forced chats about school, and the occasional compliment, but nothing like this. Just the two of us on the road. It was so unlike him that I almost said no. But there was something in his eyes, maybe even desperate, that made me agree. The first stretch of the drive was surprisingly nice. We talked about music, places to stop, even a bit about Mom. He brought her up more than usual, and though it stung, it also felt oddly comforting. But the closer we got to San Francisco, the heavier his words became. He started apologizing again and again for how he'd treated me, for his regrets, for things he never said before. At first, I thought it was just his grief resurfacing, but something in my gut told me otherwise. Something bigger was coming. Our first night, we stayed at a modest roadside motel. The room had a tiny heater that barely worked and a vending machine humming just outside. We grabbed dinner at a nearby diner, and though he tried to joke and keep it light, I could see something was off. His eyes were heavy, distant. "You okay, Dad?" I asked as we sat across from one another under the harsh fluorescent lights that made the place feel colder than it really was. He paused, fork halfway to his mouth. "Yeah," he said finally, but the words didn't match his voice. He forced a smile and added, "Just tired. It's been a long day." I nodded, but inside I knew better. Something was weighing on him, and it was starting to feel like this trip was about more than just my birthday dot. As we walked back to the motel, I noticed him glance at me more than once, like he wanted to say something but couldn't. I didn't press him. "Not yet, Dot," back in the room. I kicked off my shoes and perched on the edge of the bed. He hung his jacket on the back of the chair and sat down. Silence stretched between us, broken only by the low hum of the heater. I couldn't keep it in anymore. "Dad," I said, my voice lower this time, "why does it feel like you're keeping something from me?" He sighed, turning his back to me. "It's not the right time, Hannah," he said, shaking his head. "We'll talk once we're in San Francisco." He turned around, and I caught a glimpse of something on his face: fear, hesitation. "Why?" "Not now." I pushed. "It's just us here. If you've got something to say, say it." He rubbed his hands over his face and slumped into the chair. "It's complicated, he admitted. I've made mistakes, Hannah, big ones, things I can't undo. He looked up at me, his eyes full of regret. Your mom, she always knew how to fix things. She made things better. I didn't, and after she died, I didn't know how to be what you needed. My heart pounded. But you tried. I mean, it hasn't been perfect, but you've been trying. Why are you being so hard on yourself? He let out a bitter chuckle. Trying wasn't enough? Not after what I've done. He looked down again. I was drowning in my own pain. I couldn't see past it, and I don't want you thinking I didn't love you. I did. Your mom and I both did. But there were days I didn't know how to show it. I sat back, overwhelmed by his honesty. Dad, I whispered, I don't even know what to say. You don't have to, he said, offering a sad smile. Just know everything on this trip. Everything I plan to tell you, it's because I want to make things right. That night, as the room grew quiet and his breathing slowed into sleep, I stared at the cracked ceiling, haunted by memories. My childhood had been full of moments that still stung, harsh words over spilled milk or missed chores, that icy tone when my grades weren't perfect. He wasn't always cruel, but he was always distant. Like I was a duty he didn't know how to handle. My mom, though she was my anchor, her hugs made everything better. Her laughter could light up a room. She never raised her voice, even when I messed up. She'd just sit beside me, talk through the problem, make me feel seen. Without her, the world felt colder. Lonelier. Dots. The next morning, I woke to find Dad by the motel window, staring out at the parking lot. The light made him look older, the lines on his face deeper. Morning, birthday girl, he said with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. 18? Big number, huh? Yeah, I replied, stretching. So far, it just feels the same. He chuckled. Well, maybe this will help. He pulled an envelope from his bag and handed it to me, pausing just slightly before letting go. Your gift? He said, trying to sound cheerful. It's something important. I looked at it, noticing the worn edges. What is it? I want you to wait, he said quietly. Don't open it yet. Not until we reach San Francisco. His smile trembled. Promise me? I nodded and tucked it into my bag. Okay, I promise. Good, he said, exhaling like he'd been holding that breath for a while. Now let's get you some birthday breakfast. Even as he tried to act upbeat, I could feel the heaviness behind his words. Whatever was in that envelope, it wasn't just a birthday gift. At the diner, he ordered me a stack of pancakes topped with whipped cream and a candle. Can't have a birthday without cake, he joked, though his voice wavered. I smiled, pretending not to notice, but the envelope in my bag seemed to grow heavier by the minute. The drive that day was quieter. He pointed out a few landmarks, played some old music, tried to act normal. But the silence between his words said more. His jaw would tighten, his grip on the wheel firm every time he glanced at me. By the time the San Francisco skyline came into view, dusk coloring the city, the mood had shifted. He stopped talking altogether as we crossed the bridge, the silence almost suffocating. When we reached the hotel and parked, he just sat there, staring ahead. You okay, Dad? I asked. He nodded, too quickly. Just tired, he muttered, and got out before I could say anything more. Inside the room, he dropped his bag and checked his watch. Get your things ready, he said. There's a place I want to take you. Tonight. I tilted my head. What tokintobu place? Just somewhere special? Trust me. Though his voice was calm, I heard something underneath it. Nervousness, doubt. I wanted to believe it was something good. Something Mom would liked? A memory, maybe. But as we drove through the city, neon lights flashing and the evening coming alive, my hope began to dim. The streets grew quieter, narrower, less polished. Then we turned down a worn street lined with old houses, and he slowed the car. This is it, he said softly. I blinked. This? Why are we here? He didn't answer immediately, eyes fixed on the house ahead. Finally, he whispered, there's something I need to tell you, Hannah, and it won't be easy. My chest tightened. What is it? I've been carrying this for too long, he said. I should have told you a long time ago. He ran a hand through his hair. After your mom died, I wanted to, but every time I couldn't do it. I was scared. Scared of what you'd think of me. I said nothing, waiting. I wasn't a good dad. I know that. I was angry, bitter, and none of it was your fault. You've probably wondered why I always seemed so distant, so disappointed. He took a deep breath. Your mom. And I wanted kids so badly, but I couldn't. I was the reason we couldn't have children, and I couldn't handle it. It made me feel broken. He looked at me, eyes glassy. She wanted to adopt. She believed love made a family. And when we brought you home, I wanted to be the dad you deserved. But all I could see was my own failure. Tears blurred my vision, but I didn't speak. When she died, I realized how badly I'd failed you. And I wanted to fix it, but I didn't know how. He looked up again. Your mom and I agreed to tell you when you turned 18, but after she was gone, I didn't know how to do it alone. He paused. Hannah, you're adopted. The word echoed. Adopted. I stared ahead, unable to speak. There's more, he said gently. This house, your biological mother lives here. My breath caught. You deserve to know where you came from, who she is, but it's your choice whether to meet her. He nodded at the glove box. Get the envelope. I pulled it out, my fingers shaking, and opened it. A birth certificate. Not the one I knew. A name under a mother. I didn't recognize. What is this? I whispered. It's the truth, he said quietly. It's where your story began. I couldn't speak. I looked at the house. A figure moved behind the curtain. That's her, he confirmed. Your biological mom. My heart pounded. What do? I whispered. He paused. It's your decision, Hannah. I brought you here, so you'd have the choice. Whatever you decide, I'm with you. Now, I sit in the car. Everything I knew flipped inside out. My dad's words repeat in my mind. It's your choice. But how do I choose? Do I go to that door? Do I meet the woman who gave birth to me? Or do I walk awakening to the life I already have, with a father who's finally trying? I don't know what's right. So I'm asking you, what would you do? Would you knock on that door? Or would you drive away? Let me know in the comments. Need your help.